Okay, please welcome Frank Ferragine now. Hey, Frankie.
Hey, Tracy, how are you?
I love it. I'm great. I'm fabulous. I love the look today. I think that's awesome.
It'll make a lot of sense for the second segment coming up.
It will?
Yeah, because we're going to talk about squirrels. I want to focus, we're going to talk about getting rid of squirrels and rabbits and deer. And
they're pesky.
All those things.
Some of those animals.
But let's talk about the beauty right now.
Let's talk about the beauty. Let's talk about investing now in some things that are going to look gorgeous in the spring.
Yeah,
right?
100%. So you think spring. What do you think when you think spring?
Flowers.
You got
beautiful, colorful flowers. That's what we all look forward to.
Yeah.
So,
tulips.
Tulips.
Yeah, the only plant that
spring.
Yeah, the only plant that needs chapstick. You got it. Tulips.
Ah.
Bad flower jokes by.
That's why we love you. Give it up for Frank Ferragine, please. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, tulips, of course, a beautiful spring blooming flower that you need to plant now.
Yes.
And you can take a look at some of the other spring flowering bulbs, and these are the ones that we want to plant right now. Alliums. Alliums are unbelievable. This is Allium giganticum. Look at the impact of color for a little bit later in the spring. Used as a cut flower. You can dry that. It comes back each and every year. Related to the onion family.
Right.
So you know what's great about alliums?
What, you can eat them?
Well, you could eat them, but repels aphids from the garden.
Ooh, very good.
So they're both fashionable and functional at the same time.
I call them the supermodel flower.
You got it.
It's a big lollipop head with a stick body.
It kind of reminds me of like a Dr. Zeus.
A little bit, yeah.
Dr.
They're
Zeus kind of
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, crocuses
really
as well.
Pretty.
Another great looking flower that would be great in the garden, and crocuses are great for naturalization. So let's
adding a lot of color.
Yeah, scilla as well is also something that's just gorgeous. Scilla is one of the first flowering plants outside of crocuses, and they're perennialized. They'll come back. You'll get fields every year. They'll double and duplicate, and they're absolutely fantastic. So there's a little bit of the color. Now let's talk a little bit about selection. You can see right now there's a whole bunch down.
Yeah.
Question is, when is the time to plant these? Not just fall, but you want to make sure that it's about 2 weeks after a fairly significant frost. You don't want to plant them too early.
Okay.
They're quite of an investment, and let's first talk about tulips, because we did talk about tulips, and they do come in a bunch of range of colors and sizes, and even double blooms, which are absolutely fantastic. However, the one downfall, there's the internal flame and Monte Carlo, two different varieties. The one downfall of tulips is that they're not perennialized. Many varieties, yeah, you'll plant them one year, you'll get to enjoy them the next, but thereafter, they start to break down, and you start to get less and less blooms as years go on.
Is there anything you can do about that, or that's just the way it is?
You have to lift them, divide them, so there's a lot of work involved in tulips.
Okay.
Daffodils, as we said, the narcissi, those guys there are perennialized, meaning that each and every year, no matter what, they're going to come back, they're going to multiply, and they're going to duplicate. You can also see here on the package right there that they're resistant to deer, and they're poisonous to squirrels.
Good to know.
Very, very important. So if you do have a squirrel issue, do not plant tulips, plant daffodils.
Right,
now,
they don't like them.
You can see we got two different bulbs here. Which is the good bulb, which is the bad bulb?
That looks good to me because it looks shiny and nice and healthy.
You got it. Nice and shiny, firm to the feel, firm to the touch. When you're selecting bulbs, you want to make sure they're nice and plump. The bigger the bulb, the bigger the bloom.
Size matters.
Size does matter always in life. Guys, remember that. No matter what you say, size matters. But you can see this one here where it's got discolorization. It's also a little bit more on the softer side.
Yeah.
So when you're purchasing your bulbs, take a look at the package and make sure they also smell good. If they smell musty and or moldy, they're not good.
Okay.
Now,
smells good.
with planting's pretty easy. You can get a bulb planter like this, which is kind of fun. You're just going to shove it down
I bet you don't do that ever, do you?
No, I never use them.
You just use your hands,
I always use my hands, but I'm making a little,
I would do that.
There's been some recent research that actually says that touching the soil is better for you. You feel better,
for
serotonin. Yeah, which is good. So with planting, you always want to make sure the pointy side is going to be up.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what the bulb is. If you don't know what the pointy side is, some bulbs you'll see they're round, circular. If you plant it sideways, the bulb will always revert to the top.
Oh, okay.
So if you're ever confused, like in life, just go sideways. It's worked for me so far. So you're going to put it down there, the height. So you're going to do the height. You're going to plant it 3 times in depth. You're going to pop it down, put it in there, and you're going to cover it up. You're going to put it down firmly.
Machine. Where'd you get that little machine
You
from?
can get this anywhere. Canadian Tire, you can get it Bradford Greenhouse. You can get it wherever you wish. The question with the bulbs is when you're planting bulbs, on the back of the package, I'm going to put it right there by my finger, Al. On the back of the package, you're going to see the height. That's the mature height.
Okay.
Make sure that when you're planting, the small ones go in the front The tall ones go in the back.
Oh, true.
Really, this is simple because you get really excited. You're like, oh, I love them all. They're all so great. And then you just go crazy and you forget about planting height.
Yeah.
So you want to remind that. And as well, you can see many of them will bloom at different times of the season. That's also on the back of the package. So you want to make sure that they're early season color all the way through to later spring.
Right.
And also my other recommendation right here, this one here. You can see there?
Yeah.
That there's snowdrops. Snowdrops are great. But I always say to people, never plant white in early spring.
No?
I've seen enough white all friggin' winter. Why the heck do I want to see more white in spring?
You got a point. No, you got a point.
Right?
You got a point.
So
Never thought about it that way.
Do not
Later on,
Yeah.
when you're over the snow.
Later on.
Totally makes sense. Well, once you've finished your fall planting, pull out Frankie Flowers' latest book, Power Plant. So it's filled with simple home remedies that you can grow